As everything clicks on live here on the world of Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram, I want to welcome to Bridges Live. I'm Dr. Paul Dyer. Of course, you can reach me at all your podcast channels, wherever you get your live channels out. Just put in Bridges Live, Dr. Paul, and I will pop up in your recovery. So, when I do Bridges Live, ultimately it's about my guests, and Kiera and Shannon are going to be coming on here real quick as you can see them. But it's about community. It's about people. And it is what we do to help people be better people. It's not that we think we're better. It's just that we're trying to give our passion, give our love to so we can synchronize our synchronicity. That's all there is. I mean, people say, what can I do to help my community? And I said, do anything. But you got to do something. And Bridges Live is about doing something. And I'm so happy. I met this young lady out on what you call Black Hikers group, and I was like shocked. I pulled up, and I'm thinking I'm the only Negro in the woods anyway. And then when I pulled up, there was a group of black. Kira's like, "You so stupid." and, and when I pulled up, I saw these amazing people, and here's why. I usually have different things behind me. As you can see, this is my mom. Mother's Week, Mother's Day was just passed, and I miss my mom. But ultimately, my mom was the one who taught me music. She was the one who taught me nature. She was the one that said, people have purpose and passion. And she loved the universal life of what nature taught us. I whittle sticks now because my mother taught me how to whittle with my little knife she used to have. And we sit around campfires, and we talk, and she just picked this stick and she whittled something. And that's why I do the things I do now. But please, Kira, please introduce yourself.
Well, I'm Kiera Roberson. I am originally from Dallas, Texas. I just moved here from New Orleans, Louisiana last June, and I started a hiking group about a year ago.
So it seems simple, but there's a reason of you saw a need. You saw something that you wanted to do, and this is why Shannon is here on the show too, because it's about vibrations. It's about creation. And you created something because your heart spoke to you, not because you want to pull some funds from this, make some money from this, sell a t-shirt. It was just about, I like to do this. I want to invite other people so we can join together and do this. So what but you did something. I want to talk about what made you do it. Like, what pushed you out there to say, I'm doing it. If you say Black Girl Magic, I'm hanging up. I'll cancel the show. I'll tell you that right now.
Aside from Black Girl Magic, I honestly just love hiking. And my very first weekend that I moved here June 15th, 2020, right during the middle of the pandemic. And my friends and I, we would hike every Sunday. And so it just honestly helped to really just like clear my mind. And it's just really good for your heart, your body, your legs, kind of good for your booty too. And so we were doing that every Sunday. And then one Sunday I was like, do you think if I invited more Black people to do this, that people would come? And they were like, absolutely. Just like invite more friends. And I did that. And the group grew and grew and grew. And now it's a thing.
Well, that's I don't mind saying what I say. I am not a political person, but you can't get Black people to do anything.
You don't think so?
No, absolutely no. Get them out to vote. You got to almost bring out $2 billion worth of business so you can get them out to vote. Because I tell you, I host.
I absolutely disagree with that notion.
I'm glad you do, because I am upset by the things that I have done. Like when it comes to blood drives, sickle cell blood drives, when it comes to getting out the vote. I literally got to knock on Negro's door to say, you have to do this today. Otherwise, they're like, what? What's going on?
So I think that honestly, so the BHG is like, I would say, a younger group of hikers. But I think in general, it's pretty easy to convince people to come. It's every Sunday, it's free. And I think maybe you just need it. I can help pub you for the blood drive because they'll come out to do it. Like, and I think that's the thing, is just this notion that like Black people don't support Black people. And that's not true. Like the second I told people like, hey, this is a thing, come and do it, people rush to support. Like everyone in the group is super supportive, thinking about how they can help. And like, they will come to do it if you ask. Like, you just gotta get on Instagram and let them know.
Maybe that, see, Shannon, I'm missing something. What do you think, Shannon?
Think about what?
What do you because when we talk about health, and I've been doing health for a long time, and this is what I do when I'm not trying to just make community be better community, is that I want people to be better emotionally, physically, and mentally, right? And we know there's a lot of trauma in Black communities as a whole. So get them to say, come get help, be better people so we can be better people.
So to respond to what both of you all said about, I've been on both sides of the coin, and what I learned is, in order to connect to people, I had to, figure out what vibration and frequency they were on and how to do that. So sometimes, and Paul, you know this because you follow me on Instagram, and my stuff is way out there. I call myself a sound scientist, but some of the stuff I'm talking about is astrophysics, physics. So if I'm trying to get somebody to come and relate that to health and wellness, and even exploring divinity within themselves and spirituality, most people are not capable to understand it in that language.
Right.
So that frequency is not the frequency, whether it's here or there, it's not higher or lower, it's just not the frequency that I need to use. So in order to connect with people, I have to be able to connect to their frequency. And that doesn't mean, and this is one thing I do not do, because there's a notion of, people have to connect with people by doing things that they were do. Like, I'm not going to go and start just using a whole bunch of profanity and doing some things that's against my
the way I feel. Yeah.
Right. Because that throws off my frequency. That's not my frequency.
Yeah.
But I do understand how to connect with people through frequency. And I see it, how I learned that lesson is first through children. I can explain some of the most complex things to children. So reaching adults, yes, adults, they some of us think we know everything.
Well, it's because we're blocked. We're blocked by different life things. Blocked.
Yeah.
And I absolutely agree with you, Shannon, about that. Your ability to connect with children, I think, helps a lot. I think that honestly makes me a really good leader for my hike group, or for our hike group, because it's not mine, it's a community thing, is because I'm a teacher at heart. So like, you can ask them, like when we're hiking, I very much like, if you can hear my voice, clap once. And they're like, you're absolutely 100% a teacher. And I think that those skills have just like taken me into the woods and out of the classroom too.
And I'm so glad you really go into the woods, because for me, the woods is my church. It really is. And most people know, people who know me, I'm a practicing Buddhist. So nature speaks to me in all levels. It's the small things. It is literally the smallest. When you're walking with breath, balance, and awareness through the woods, nature touches you and says, thank you. It doesn't say welcome. It says thank you, because you are there being a part of it all, because we are all part of the evolution and the movement of the universe. I see the small little ant move and the squirrel move or the little snakes move and the different things how nature balances itself, right? And that's that equilibrium that universe puts out there that says we will always go back to balance. And nature teaches us that as we walk through even trail sites, off trail. It is the most amazing teacher to me. And every time, not sometime, every time I am out, it teaches me something that I'm a lesson for that day. I am so happy you started the group. How is the group going, Kira?
How's it going?
Yeah, I mean, how is the people who've never hiked before, never maybe done it before, and they're so happy? How is it going?
I think it's going really well. It's a community,
Yeah.
so there's going to be new hikers, there's baby hikers, there's teenage hikers, there's middle-aged hikers. It's really open for everyone, and then there's always free snacks. I get free snacks every week, so Black people love free food, so that definitely will bring them
See,
out.
she's speaking in frequency, Paul. You don't bring free food to the doors when you're knocking on the doors. See, you gotta learn.
Yeah, you gotta bring the free food. You can't be afraid of the free food. Maybe a TikTok dance here or there. So I would say that it's going pretty well. Just because.
Please no TikTok.
I would say it's going really well. We go every Sunday, so there's always an opportunity. So let's say you miss a Sunday, like there's no pressure because you know that there's another Sunday to go, and then there's opportunity for me to work with other hike groups. Like there's also another Black hike group called the Hike Crew, and we work with them just because there's room for everybody. Like we get to work with the biking groups like Saturday Night Bike Club, Streets Be Calling DC. Like we all get to work together and promote each other. So I would just say that overall it's going really well.
Have you found that just bringing people together opens up for a place that people can have a conversation?
Oh, absolutely. Like we talk about such a wide range of things. So it's kind of like what you were saying about talking about like health and your struggles with getting people out to the blood drive. Like it's so funny that you said that because we're talking about like right now I'm reading the book Medical Apartheid. I don't know if you guys ever heard about it from Harriet Washington.
Yes.
And just talking about that notion of like the history of health with Black people in general and what it means to like give blood and like what it means to go and be a part of these things. Like there's so many historical things that like I feel like a lot of times the news and different things they lack context. So to be like,
Yeah.
Oh, Black people don't want to do this, but we don't talk about the historical context that comes along with that. Or like, oh, Black people don't like the woods, but we don't talk about the historical context that comes along with those things. And there's so many things that we will do when we have enough information about it. And I think that a lot of times it's just really about awareness and information, but Black people will literally do anything.
I agree. And Shannon, let's talk about vibrations and nature in itself and what it brings to the heart sound. Because when the one thing people who when they feel so good being in nature, it's because nature is vibrating at a certain frequency. And if you come into the woods at a different frequency, by the time you leave, it would balance you out.
Mm-hmm. And it's the same can be said to lake fronts and ocean fronts and water due to the negative ions in it. So let's just look at it even outside of just frequency. I remember when we used to do yoga on the Chicago Lake Shore Drive. And you know, Paul.
All right, yoga.
So everyone was like, yeah, this is the thing. And I was just like, the air quality is bad because it's right by downtown.
Mm-hmm.
The expressway's right by it, so it's loud. All the fuel emission, exhaust is coming out there. So it was okay. So then I was like, what can we do if we did yoga and qigong with some air, like because there's hardly no trees on the beach, right?
Right.
So I started doing a Saturday morning session. It was called Saturn Day because Saturday is Saturn Day.
Yeah.
And people would drive out there, and as soon as they hit the area where the trees were, they could breathe. So when they got there, they were just like, "Oh, great morning. I'm late because I actually saw a river over there and I want to stop and just take that in." I was just like, "Oh, that's okay to be late." And then what I noticed, or it's okay to be late. Um, well, sometimes. What I did notice, because that's another thing.
Real.
Yeah, that's another
Time
thing.
is real.
Yeah, it is. So what I also notice is because I'm more of like a nerdy, techie, scientist type of person. So I was just like, I wonder what is the temperature and O2 difference from my house to when I get out here. And what I noticed is when we got into the forest areas, the temperature would drop
Yes.
about 8 to 10 degrees.
Yep.
And then you had a breeze that will come. So what I did to get people to get excited about it, I was like, hey man, you got to check this out. I would show them like temperature readings as I'm driving towards the forest. And people was like, no, that's not true. That's not true. It's like, trust me, come on out. We do it. And people were driving all over Chicago to the forest and they were like, yeah, you're right. My temperature went down and etc. So now when we're talking about the vibration, so the first thing is more oxygen. That's what I'm trying to say.
You're
so
right.
with more oxygen comes what? It's increasing the energy inside of our body. It's giving us relaxation, right? And our breath is going to be, even if we don't know how to do a deep diaphragmatic yogic breath, we're going to get more oxygen. So we think we're breathing better.
Right.
So
now the chemistry kicks out, serotonin kicks in, right?
And dopamine.
Yes. They start going, whoo. They start line dancing. Serotonin's like, whoa.
Right, because dopamine is the reward chemical, right?
Yeah.
The hormone. So your body's beginning to reward yourself for just going to the forest, even for a hike. So we like, and even self-care practices stimulate dopamine.
Yeah.
And then, serotonin happens when you're walking, you're getting vitamin D, you're jogging. So things that are like cardio oriented, activity, that's when the serotonin kicks in. So both of those things are kicking in.
Endocrine system starts to align itself. Right?
Come on, science lesson, y'all. All right.
You didn't know. I didn't tell you, but you didn't know.
She didn't know we was gonna get down like
No. She didn't know.
Okay. Well, I created a whole slide thing, but I'm not gonna show it today.
Come on,
So now you have the stimulation of the different systems, right? From your nervous system is going to be relaxed. Right. Then what is going to get the frequency in alignment and harmonizing with the nature is now the brain entrainment of that, right? So now deeper breath means that the brain is slowing down. So it's becoming less active and more into a relaxed state. And then that triggers those chemicals we mentioned, those two hormones, dopamine and serotonin. Now you have the trees. And when they say tree huggers and things like that, you have the flora and the fauna. The vibration of experiencing them is more heightened because our brain has slowed down.
Correct.
Increasing the senses to feel those things.
You underline that word, to feel. Right? Because how often throughout our week or a day, whatever, you don't feel the translation of the purpose you are. Man, that's powerful. This is why, Kira, what you did was amazing, but yet the love you given to your hikers, they have no clue. And that's why I invited Shannon on this conversation so they can understand that what you have given them, what not just you, but offering them. Say, come join me. And we haven't gotten to the communicative spirit of it. Hell, don't let a chorus start singing the same song. We start, ooh, praise. ahead, Shannon. Continue.
Well, and so then what happens when the senses are more alert? Now we are able to connect with things past the notion of just the mind, the perception of the mind, right? So, say for instance, when you are more active, your senses, your sense of smell and sight and touch is not as alert or activated as when you're more relaxed. So, say for instance, if somebody start, you like, oh, you relax and you just settle into it. You settle. That's what nature does to you. You settle in, and it starts from that increase of oxygen that's allowing your brain to receive more energy, and then you're slowing down. And from there, your nervous system, your endocrine system, and things like that are more activated, and you have more sensations that are energetic, and you're able to feel those sensations. It's not something that's intangible. It becomes tangible to you when you're out during those hikes.
So, Kira, Kira, what are some of those conversations? Not specific conversations, but the comments you get from first-time hikers about this was amazing, and what are they saying? Because I'd like to hear the words, because we know what's happening chemically, but I want to hear the words, because you don't rarely hear the words. I want to hear what you get from it.
Well, I'm a big words of affirmation person, and I think that everyone in the group knows that. I think that they're extremely grateful. So along the hike, people will always say, like, this is a really cool experience. I'm glad that I did this, or, like, it wasn't as hard as I thought it was going to be, or, it was challenging, but I really appreciate the experience. And so I think that what I like about the group is that it's truly accessible to everyone, whether you're a first-time hiker, 100-time hiker, 1,000-time hiker. It's accessible to everyone. So it's like we come together, we lead together. If the group gets too far apart, we stop. Like when we need to take a break, we'll take a break. So I think that people are really good about expressing their gratitude orally, and I really appreciate it, because that's how I like give and receive love. And so from my understanding, people are really enjoying the snacks and the hikes. And really the only thing that could get easier would be the parking. Because, the parking can be a little interesting with the hikes sometimes. So we have parking issues every now and then, but other than that, I think the people are enjoying it.
I'm not going to ask you where do you hope this goes, but I kind of want to now ask you, why did you want to give to service? Is it just because you already said that you're a teacher, right? And you have a teacher at heart, but that doesn't mean service completely.
I think teaching is very rooted in service, but I just come from a background of service in general. Like, first and foremost, I'm an AKA, so we are.
Oh, here you go. You can throw it up there. Okay, throw your AKA. There you go.
But first and foremost, being AKA service extremely important, and then also coming from Xavier University of Louisiana, we are very rooted in service. We have service Saturday, so service is just like a part of my like blood, how we run, and service really fulfills me. That's my way to give back, my little way of helping the world to be a little bit better. And so I'm just pretty rooted in service, just through who I am. That's just who I am.
That's amazing. So, because Shannon, why do we've been moving in and out of the movement from what has happened from our last presidential person to this presidential purpose, and we are still not giving enough service as a community in a whole. And there are different levels of active and activism, and yet people are still not resonating on a service level. What do you think it's better? I hate to use the word what will help us to learn how to serve better, but there's something we're missing on a level of vibration level. Where do you think that is?
So that's an awesome question. It can span. Let's go from let's take it back from the energy level and let's look at how modern society, when we talk about westernization,
Right.
is designed. So what Kiera said instantly is her time,
Yeah.
the concept of time, right, was dedicated on Sundays to some type of service practice.
Mm-hmm.
You yourself come from a family, Paul, where your mom was all about service.
Right.
So let's look at how the calendar in the westernized society is designed. We only celebrate certain things. We give a day or a month for Women's Month, right? The rest of the year, they don't care. Mom one day, they don't care. Dad one day. President's Day, Dr. Martin Luther King. So everything is allocated
To a time.
to a specific time. But when it comes to work, you have a whole work week, and then you have a weekend, and then you have homework or things you do outside of that. So service in relationship to time in the average person's spectrum is, I don't have time for service. I'm giving service when I'm at work. I'm too tired.
Right. I see what you're saying.
Yeah. So we have to look at that perspective. So now let's get into my world. So let's imagine that time isn't really the way we see it. When we say we don't have enough time for something, what are we really saying? In my world, I look at that as time is just a representation of energy cycles and changes, and we just use that to track those. So imagine if you had more energy, then you would be of more service. When you don't have enough energy, then you say, I'm tired, I don't have enough time. It's all about energy. So what we have to do, I know my person, I do a lot of service as well, is that's why I do Qigong. That's why I do yoga, meditation, breath work, sound. I try anything to do that so I can have enough energy to exist in this dimension the way I would like to. So that would be my offering, is to get people to get into more service, stop looking at this construct of time and not having enough time to do service, and build your energy. So you're eating better foods, you're going on hikes, you're doing, you're exercising more, you're meditating more, you're sleeping more. Please, more sleep. You need more sleep, and things like that. I hope that answered your question.
It did.
Am I able to answer that question as well?
Absolutely. Look at you. You're like, if you do a TikTok video, I'm telling you that.
I got you. I think honestly, when you say a disconnect, I think it's really about what the word service means to people. What does service look like? Like, I think we have to really get down to the nitty gritty of there's so many different ways to serve, to be a servant leader. And when you aren't specific in the ways in which you can serve people, it's not that people don't want to make the time. They don't know how to allocate the time because they don't know what they're allocating their time towards. So I think if people being more aware of what the service looks like me going to help kids with their homework in Southeast DC is service. That's a service. Or me going to pick up trash in a neighborhood is a service. Me going to do this certain thing is a service. So us really getting to making people aware of the service that can be done in this community, because we are hiking, but there's so many more things I can be doing as a service in the community of the 7th and 8th wards of DC, or just in anywhere in the county that I live in PG County. So what does service look like where I live? And I think that when people know what ways they can serve, people are more willing to serve, because I believe that young Black people love to serve. I think that that's really in us more than people know. We're very fired up to do things. And if we knew good ways to serve, I think we would do it more.
I don't want to be the Debbie Downer, but how can you not find a way to serve when it's all over social media? If you look in the right places, I guess, you know what I mean? There are places that are begging for your service, whether it be this shelter, that place, this food drive. There are people. We need you to serve. And it doesn't mean that we need you to give as a financial. We just need you to be there to show up, because there's a lot of times I know we need more bodies than financial. We got the financial, but we need bodies.
I think that's all in the algorithm though. So like you have to naturally have that a part of like who you are to see that. So like I hike, so naturally I'm gonna know about the other Black hike group, the hike crew, or I'm
Right.
gonna know about the bike club, Saturday night bike club, or streets we call in DC, because that's like naturally what I'm doing. Like that's how I vibrate. But you got to think about the person that isn't rooted in service, like naturally, or that's not something they've come up to do. If that's not in their algorithm, it's not that they don't want to do it. It's just that it's not hitting them. So you might get the TikTok dance and Cardi B doing up way more than you get like going to the soup kitchen. And it's not that you don't want to do it. It's just all in the algorithm. So I think it's really more so about the awareness. The more people are aware of what's available to them, like even with the hike group, like the more people becoming aware of it, they want to join, they want to be a part of it, but someone has to tell someone and it has to get to you. It has to be a part of your algorithm for you to be able to participate in it. So like with the blood drive, I guarantee you, we will have some people show up and show out for you. All it is going to take is a little bit of awareness.
So when we talk about awareness, Shannon, and we talk about algorithm, because she mentioned it, so I was gonna hit a tennis ball. She softballed it to you. When we talk about algorithm, we're actually talking about wave functions in the body.
Mhm. Yeah, well, I was going to say to that, it goes back to what I said originally. We have to look at when we say awareness and being able to turn potential energy into kinetic energy. So there's a lot of people that say, I want to quit. I know that smoking's bad and I want to stop smoking and can't do it. So they are aware. So the notion of what we are entrained to think that knowledge is power and just knowing something makes you act. When we're talking about service, we're talking about some activation, and activation deals with, I'm going to go back again, energy.
That's intention.
Yeah.
Right.
So many people have intend to do great things. I know a lot of people who but they don't do it, and it's not because they're bad people. They don't have the energy activated to do it. So we have to look at the human being as, you know, an energy body. So if you don't have enough energy to do things, you're going to allocate the energy that you do have to what's priority. So and I know, Paul, it looks, you know, priorities, you know, dancing to TikTok for some people, and that's a lot of energy. They could be picking up the cans in their neighborhood, because I agree, you know, service is some simple things. I've seen elderly people fall on the ground right in front of young people, and they just keep it moving. So like Kiera said, though, it goes back into, you know, some people say it's how you raised, or and that awareness from that, and that sets the tone. The vibration inside of you comes from that entrainment, but it deals with energy. But that energy is very important to be able to do things. We're asking people to do things, but I think what Paul is saying, how are you allocating your energy? And Kiera said, well, you got to be shown how to allocate it.
And I think it's awareness. I actually think there's an awareness component to it that Kiera actually hit it around the head like a hammer. She goes, if people don't know, how can they do? You know, and we try to do these things, and that's why I do the show. That's why I do all my shows, whether it be whatever shows I do it so much for information, understanding, and action. That is the ultimate of my shows. I do domestic violence shows. I do prison reform, law, whatever. I do it for people to understand that there's things that maybe you just didn't understand. Here's more information. Here's a better understanding. And then you can take it into an action. And that's why I was so happy that Kiera was able to come on. I'm so happy that Shannon, you're able to come on, because is there such an energy when you're hiking? You know, when I was taught Qigong and Tai Chi, in the way I was taught in the monastery, was to feel the earth move beneath your feet as it circulates through the energy of the planetary system. It touches you and it puts you right as a plant, within all of all. I walk through the woods that way. That's why when something moves, I'm like, oh, there you are. I talk to it. And I know hiking for me is more, like I said, it's my church I go to. But then, has people ever said that they never thought they would feel this way and how they feel when they after the end of the hike?
Absolutely. Like there are some people who thought that like they would hate it. And like I would never come back to do this. And then they're shocked by how good they feel at the end. And so that's a really rewarding thing for me because it's opening up their awareness to the things that they didn't even know that they would like doing. And so I think that happens a lot. People being really shocked at how much they enjoy it and how enjoyable it truly is. Because you get lost in the moment of community, and that's what's beautiful about it.
When we do intentional action, when we are choosing to go hike, choosing to go do, choosing to give service, do you find that you enjoy it differently?
I think that I'm always thinking about it as like the leader of it. So my brain is running a million different things at once. So I'm like wanting to make sure that everyone's enjoying it. And so I think that not that I don't enjoy these hikes, but it's coming from like the logistical standpoint of it. Of I'm making sure everyone's okay. Like is are you with the person that you were with earlier? Is everyone doing okay? Do you need water? How do you feel? So I think that I'm able to I'm like in it, but out of it almost. So it's like,
So when do you get in it? When you get home and go, man, that was great.
I think just seeing like 30 to 40 Black people pass all these white people and they're like, what is going on? The time that you met us, actually, we were like they were just like looking like, what is going on? Like, are they invading the place? And I'm like, we might. Like, and that feels pretty good to be here together like that.
It does. I know, like I said, I do. I've been in a lot of places that a lot of Black people just don't go. I was a ski instructor. I was a ski patrol. And when a person falls on a ski mountain in the middle of Aspen, Colorado, and a Black guy pulls up going, hey, and me being as comical I am then as I am today, how can I help you? They're like, what the?
Oh, it definitely, there's some stare. So we had to be like, hey, how you doing? Like,
Yeah.
Black people do hike. Hi, hello. We're not here to cause any trouble. And so I think that is the moment for me, being able to just like see all that melanin shining every single Sunday. Just is the thing for me that makes it really worth it.
Shannon, let's talk about intention. That's a whole different level of the brain that we want to talk about. When you intend to go do that your direction of the endorphins changes with intention.
So I recently posted an experiment I did with cymatics. I don't know if you saw it in the
I did.
reference.
I did.
Dr. Masaru Emoto. So
yep.
Masaru Emoto is a Japanese, they call him a pseudoscientist, but we'll go into that later. I would say scientist, who studied the notion of intentions and their effects on water. And since our bodies are the adult human body is 61% water.
Completely.
Yeah.
Like people used to say it's 75%. No, that's different minerals. We're talking complete H2O is over 60%, 60%.
Yep. And then different organs. Matter of fact, the next After Trinity, this is some of that data is going to be in there. Different organs in the body are 73%. The lowest organ, the lowest part of the body is the bones, which is 31% water.
Correct.
But anyway, let's keep it moving. So water is a conductor of energy, but what he found is he would have mental intention, verbal attention, community attention placed into water, meaning prayers over water, somebody just thinking, holding water, writing something and put it on a glass, or saying, I love you, I hate you, and things like that, and studying those intentions and how they crystallize in water. And since the crystallization of those intentions are sonic geometry or sacred geometry, or if you don't know what those mean, geometry, right? So geometry means symmetry, it's symmetric, right? So what they found, or what he found, was that when there are more positive intentions stated, intended, written, collectively, projected, then the crystallization of the water showed like really nice crystals and things like that. They were all symmetric. And when
they were not just all symmetric, they were clear. There's exactly. a difference. They were just clear, and all the points measured the same. That's why community is amazing, right? When Kira's talking about, it's about community and building that and having that melanin shine. The melanin is shining because of the intention is resonating, meaning vibrate throughout the community. Go ahead, Shannon. You're tickling me. I love it. I love it.
So now we're talking about intention, communal intention, personal intention, verbal intention. So let's take that and look at that in community. And when we say community, we often think humans, but I'm not talking about that. No. I'm talking about everything.
Right.
So there's nothing that doesn't have energy, vibration, or water in it. So the influence of intention, when we say higher vibration, right? Positive vibes, right? So the influence of that in a communal aspect, it's not that all the people on the hike really digs the hike. It's the tuning, they're being kind of, I would say, toned, energized to begin to appreciate the hike, because the collective is appreciating the hike. Yeah. It's like, I'm also a DJ as well. So I play music that I'm a different DJ. I don't do like the weddings and play pop music. They hire me to learn stuff that you don't know. So if I play an event, and I remember seeing other DJs, they would come and be like, what is this guy playing in the corner? They all bitter or whatever. And I would see the music and the people change their vibrations because everyone's having a great time. I'm smiling, I'm having a great time. So the few, and that's what we got to realize, the few in the room who's like, I'm not feeling this, my back hurt, this sucks. They begin to be entrained to, you know what, this is not bad. And by the end of the night, they're dancing, they're on the internet saying, oh, I had a great time, blah, 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 blah. So there's and out in here, there's this one, there was a study about metronomes. So metronomes is how you keep time, but imagine those, and you've probably seen it, Kiara, the things go. So they went into a room and put hundreds of metronomes and just turned them on. So it's all different types of click, 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 and some's going slow, some go, because it sounds like noise, right? So after, and they show it, they show a time lapse over time. The metronomes begin, the one that's next to the other one begins to sync, go into the same speed and rhythm of that one, and then the other one next to that starts going to rhythm. So about 5 minutes later, the whole room is on the same metronome.
I got to tell you one of my horror stories about metronome, and the woman behind me is my mom. My mom was tone deaf, but she loved music, and she was such a loved person. She sang in the choir, but she was mouthing because they just wanted her part of the choir. But she was also a concert pianist. So I grew up with the piano, learning the piano. And I will never forget that we had to practice that piano for an hour every Saturday. Half hour, 3 times a day during the week. And she would turn on that egg timer and hit that metronome, and she wouldn't care if I didn't touch a key. I was gonna sit there until that egg timer went "Zzz," and that metronome stopped clicking. So as much as I love music now, I owe it all to my mom saying, this is because she didn't do it because she loved it. She did it because she wanted me in rhythm of my own spiritual self. That's why she said music was important. Because we used to hike, raft, ski. We did all the things as a black boy in the 70s, early 70s, that many black boys didn't do, and getting teased by it. Like, how are you doing that? And what do you think you're doing? So I love what has opened up my life to the things that she's offered and said, try this, experience this. And it wasn't experience it physically, it was always experience it here. Because my mother would say, how did you feel about that? Not how did you do? How did you feel about that? And I teach my students the same way I do now. How do you feel about that? How was that move? How was this? How was that? Because I want them to align themselves with their own intention. And I think as a teacher, Kiera, you do the same thing. How are you doing with that? How do you feel about your progress, right?
My progress as a teacher?
No, that's how you ask your students. That's probably how the things you ask your students and you
Yeah.
ask the people you're connecting with.
Yeah. Could you rephrase the question?
It wasn't really a question. It was more of a comment. And I was saying, how did you, is that how you teach your students? Is that how you, when you go about the hike and you ask them how they feel and how their, their mental intention is connecting with themselves?
I think that yeah, I think that the way that I run the hike will be the same way I teach. I think everything is led through relationships.
Yeah.
I think that when you at the core build relationships with people, especially kids, they'll do anything for you, and they're really able to see their truest potential. And so I think that I run the hike group the same way that I run a classroom. Everything is about relationships. So like you'll hear some people, some teachers who are like, I don't care if kids don't like me. And it's like, no, that's not a thing. Like kids don't learn from people they don't like. And so for that reason, it's really important that humans don't really learn from people they don't truly like. And so I think it's really important to remember that when you're building relationships. And so I would say that I'm really intentional about the relationships I build with people because I know that that's the foundation of anything that I want to do moving forward.
Your next hike, do you know where you're going? How can people get a hold of you? Where can people find you? Let's get some, business out of the way.
We typically hike every Sunday, but this Sunday I am treating myself and I'm going to Costa Rica with my line sister, Taylor McFarland. Shout out to Taylor. So we will not be hiking this Sunday, but we will be hiking next Sunday. And I'm pretty sure next Sunday is, let me check that date. Next Sunday is the 23rd, which is also a really close friend of mine's birthday. Shout out to Salima Glover. We'll be hiking next Sunday. Right now, it's scheduled to be Great Falls, Virginia, but things change, and I also have to call because they're Trail A and C sometimes are randomly closed. But if you want to reach for any information, you can follow us at BHG_DMV. So B as in boy, H as in hike, G as in girl, BHG_DMV. And we post every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday any updates you need. And that's pretty much it.
Shannon, I know you've been teaching, you've been asked to teach. How's that been? That's got to be just such a joy. I love it that people are reaching out to you because we've been trying to sing this living song, the life sciences, for several years, and people are now starting to go, hey, how's that going?
It's been phenomenal. As a tropical Aquarius and a sidereal Capricorn, when they say the age of Aquarius, and that happened in the winter solstice in last year, I'm seeing, as I predicted, like these modalities, even conversations like we're having right now, talking about the deepness of intention or nature and things like that, or the relationships. I'm seeing things, become exponential in people actually getting what I'm saying, or beginning to even acknowledge some of these things, and invite me to be a part of it, and wanting to be a part of what I'm doing. So lately, I've been asked to be the keynote speaker for the United States Psychotronics Association. I didn't even know who they were when they contacted me. I was like, what is that? I mean, this sounds cool. It sounds real cool. I was like, this sounds cool, but what is this? And when I read it, I was like, whoa, this is totally me. And some of these projects I'm working on, proposals I'm putting out there for some of these public health healing arts events. I'm very ecstatic about it, to be honest. I don't have words for it. I just have energy for it. But yeah, if you want to keep in contact with what I'm doing, and some of the research, and innovations, inventions, and creations, you can find me at Audio Pharmacology, www.audioPharmacology.com. And that's Audio Pharmacology on Facebook. I have 3 different audio pharmacology things on Facebook going on: a group, a business page, and a regular page. And then I also have audio pharmacology on Instagram. And Instagram, of course, I like it better because everything is, tiled side by side. And then I just launched my other website, because I had to separate the audio pharmacology science stuff from, my other musical endeavors and things like that. So I have Shannon-Harris.com or DJShannonHarris.com.
Kenny, you are famous, it sounds like.
That's the shyness.
She stopped me in my tracks.
Yeah, she did, because that's the shy. And I'm gonna put it to you this way: humbleism is hard to embrace, because when I commend you, Kira, for doing what you've done, you're like, it's no big deal. And Shannon the same way, because like my mom say, develop your passion and now become your purpose. And whatever you do, if it's with passion, it becomes intentional, which is why this conversation has all been around the same thing: the vibration level of love and community and service to the other. Man, it's amazing. And it all comes from like, I thought they was just talking about hiking. Man, you were wrong.
Yeah, it's much more bigger than hiking. That's one of my favorite endeavors to that, and cycling. Yeah, I'm glad we had this conversation, and if some of the people that go on your hikes view how many things you are inspiring inside their body, souls, and minds and spirits.
It's incredible.
Yeah, it's incredible.
Thank you.
Yeah, I mean, trust me, when we got back in the car, my wife and I, and she goes, "What'd you think about that?" And I was so silent, and I started to cry. And she says, "Why?" She goes, "What's?" I said, "You have no idea what this young lady is giving this gift of just walking through the woods. It is opening up their whole endorphins, the endocrine system, the nervous system, the different parts of the brain." And she's like, because she hears me talk about this all the time, but those people may not know what's going on, but it's chemically changing inside their bodies on such a chemical level, on a genetic level of healing trauma, just by walking through it. When you see those trees that's fallen and they're on top of each other, right? It can give you the thought like, see, someone can't hold me up too, right? Someone's got me too. Someone's not going to let me fall. Just like ... When you see the little small flower bloom, when you didn't see it bloom through the trail, that's how I feel today. I feel like I'm blooming. man, the connection that we have to our relationship to the service of God and the universe, come on. And that's why I started crying on that car ride. She goes, "What do you think about seeing all those people?" I said, "I love it. I love it. I
Thank
absolutely love it."
you. That really means a lot. Thank you so much.
Thank you guys for coming on. Come on anytime, Shannon. We got another show to do soon, more sooner than later. Kiara, we're just gonna keep in contact because I'll see you on hikes and walks and too, and just about service and community, but more just about getting it out there so people can experience the science of hiking, right? Because there is a beauty. It's great to get outdoors, but like Shannon said, if you listen to the show, people, and I hope you will, and replay it, there's a science to this living that we can be involved in if we intend our intentions directly.
Absolutely. So I would like to shout out my group because there will
Yes.
be no BHG. There will be no BHG without the group that comes to support. And so I appreciate them so much. I hope they're watching. This is for you guys. I love y'all. We hike every single Sunday, guys. You can follow us on Instagram at BHG_DMV. It's free. We have free snacks every single Sunday, free of charge. So come
Good
through,
question.
bring your family and your friends, and we'll be there.
Go ahead, Shannon. What do you got?
What does DMV stand for?
DMV.
Wait, he's from Chicago. Don't.
Oh, DC, Maryland, Virginia. It's open to everybody.
Oh, okay. I thought it was driver motor vehicle.
Vehicle.
That's why when she said it originally, I said, "What does DM?" I'm sitting here the whole time. Like, what is D? I don't understand.
Yes, for no matter where you are, whether you're in DC,
Yeah,
Maryland,
Virginia.
or Virginia, you come through and we got you.
See, it wasn't a
No, because
it was a good question.
Wait, because on the real, when I went to grad school here, and everyone called it the DMV, and I disregarded it. But being here, I'm like, DMV. I don't have to go to the DMV, but it's that DC, Maryland, Virginia thing. They got a whole vibe down here.
You know, you got to get into it.
Yeah.
And you let us know about the blood drive, and we will make sure so you don't feel like you have to go door to door to track us down.
I do.
Here.
It's to me, and this is not a plug or anything like that. Sickle cell anemia is the only thing that a black person can do to save another black person's life by donating blood. Because of the blood, when they go through a crisis, they need matched blood from a genetic donor, black and brown people. If they do not get the blood, they go through such a severe crisis that they have passed away and they die. Here in the DMV area, here in Maryland, we have lost too many people, over 1,000 people, because we don't get enough black donors donating at blood drives. And when you do, if you don't donate at a drive that I have or whoever I'm involved in, ask for the blue tag. And the blue tag allows you, this blue tag allows you to tag your blood as a black blood donor, and it goes to a black patient.
That's beautiful.
So it is the original black on black crime if you don't donate blood.
Well, black on black crime is not a thing, but that's a conversation for a totally different interview.
It is, right?
It's not a thing. It's crime. But
it is crime.
Yeah.
But thank you so much. And I love to I love meeting my people. This is great because it's about conversations and development and relationships. So thank you so much. Everyone have a great evening. Thank you for watching. Thank you for sharing. Please, if you have any more questions, you can contact me and I'll put you in contact with Kiera. If you have any questions for Shannon, I'll put you in contact with Shannon and I'll let you know that they'd be so welcome to have your comments and questions and your support. Thank you so much. God bless, man.
Thank you. Y'all have a great evening. Bye.
All right, TikTok time. Bye.